Hello and welcome to Maths with Jacob. This lesson will focus on sharing and grouping. Division is one of the four major operations that every student needs to learn. In the early stages, students are introduced to the concepts of sharing and grouping before they actually learn the division process. Sharing. We will start off by looking at sharing as a process where we distribute or allocate equal quantities of a given number of objects to a specified number of people. Example 1. If 12 marbles are shared equally between 3 people, how many does each person receive? Here are the 12 marbles and here are the 3 people. Let's allocate them equally. Cross off that one, put it there. Cross off this one, put it there. Cross off this one and put it there. So they have 1 marble each. Let's go again. Cross off this one, put it there. This one and put it there. This one and put it there. Now they have 2 marbles each. Cross off this one, put it there. This one, put it there. And this one and put it there. Now they have 3 marbles each. Cross off this one and put it there. This one, put it there. And this one goes there. So each person gets 4 marbles. So we have shared the marbles equally. Example 2. Share 5 apples equally between 2 people so that all the apples stay whole. That means we don't cut any up. How many does each person get and how many are left over? Let's have a look on the next slide. Solution. Here are the 5 apples. Cross off this apple and give it to that person. Cross off this apple and give it to that person. So we've given 1 apple each. Cross off this apple and go back to the first person. Cross off this apple and go to the second person. They have 2 apples each and 1 is left over. So each person gets 2 apples and there is 1 apple left over. Let's have a look at grouping. Grouping has a close association with sharing. It depends on the wording of the question. Example 1. There are 8 oranges in a row and they will be given to a certain number of people. Each person is to receive 2 oranges. How many people will receive oranges? Are there any left over? So that's an interesting question. Here is the solution. The important thing is this. Each person is to receive 2 oranges. So the first person gets those 2. The next person gets those 2. The next person gets those 2. And the last person gets those 2. So we have person 1, person 2, person 3, and person 4. The number of people receiving oranges is 4. There are no oranges left over. So they were equally distributed and there were no oranges left over. So there were 4 groups. Example 2. There are 14 pens in a row and an equal number will be given to a certain number of people. Hence, Each person is to receive 3 pens. How many people will receive pens? Are there any left over? Solution. So, the first person receives those 3 pens. The next person receives those 3. The next person receives those 3. And the next person receives those 3. Now we don't have 3 pens left, so they're the ones that are left over because each person has to receive an equal number. They're the ones that are left over. So we have person 1, person 2, person 3, and person 4. The number of people receiving pens is 4. There are 2 pens left over. So the conclusion. Sharing and grouping are closely related to the mathematical operation of division. In fact, they are closely related to each other, as we saw from the examples. We may or may not have items that are left over. If they exist, they are called remainders. So I hope that's given you a good idea about sharing and grouping.